Hi, my name is Dave from the Picer Institute. There is a saying, healthy women, healthy world, which embodies the idea that women do often focus as almost like a custodian of their family's health. And women often play such a critical role in maintaining the health and overall well-being of their communities. However, because of the many roles women take today, they could be maybe too focused on the health and the care of their spouses or their children or their parents. And maybe sometimes they will neglect their own health needs. Because of this, it could be very important that women take more time to maintain good health and well-being for themselves. That's what we think. And a woman's health does not only refer to her physical condition, but her total well-being, mind, the body, and the spirit. As a recognition of the importance of the well-being of women, Picer Institute has developed a quantum body reprogramming treatment just for women. This video introduces this treatment that concerns the female reproductive organs at the chest, the mammary glands, and at the pelvic area, which includes the uterus and the ovaries. It aims to initiate a restoration of well-being of women's reproductive health and emotional equilibrium naturally by liberating of the body's inborn ability to rejuvenate itself, giving a renewed sense of happiness, ease, and youthfulness. For an explanation of our research into wellness and how we apply this understanding to bring this technology of quantum reprogramming, please watch our other video, which we call Introduction to Quantum Reprogramming. One of the key findings shared in this other video is that our emotions and our thinking patterns are actually electronic signals, a type of faint radiation which over time can affect our bodily functions, even leading to damage and decay, very similar to the process of cooking using a microwave oven. We have found that our body, the DNA in our cells, has particular characteristics that will affect how we think, our behavior, and how we react and act to what happens in our life. It is these characteristics that are the root of a reduction in our wellness. In our quantum reprogramming treatments, these characteristics are what are being reprogrammed. Yet we find that the more people can understand these characteristics, then the more they can try to counteract them, these often destructive mindsets. And then our treatments can be an initiator of a change in direction towards a more kind, loving, considerate way of life, with more peace and improved relationships. It seems this more balanced state of mind towards an emotional equilibrium are the keys to wellness. But in this video, we will share our research into the characteristics, the emotions, and the mindsets that, due to their radioactive nature, can cause emotional instability, discomfort, through the decay to the female reproductive organs, eventually maybe leading to disease. Without this decay, also there can be affirming and uplifting benefits at the chest area. The characteristics of the female reproductive organs is what we'll talk about now. We have been studying for many years how mindsets and emotions can damage our cells, and we have found that there is a very direct relationship between the two. So we feel that the information we will now share is very important for women to enable them to maintain good health at their reproductive organs. We will also explain what the aim is, the intention of Picer Institute's body reprogramming for women. In order for women to maintain a good health at their reproductive organs, which includes the mammary glands at the upper chest region, and the uterus and the ovaries at the pelvic region, we will explain about the particular characteristics that these organs emit, and that in fact these emissions are a harmful radiation to our cells. We have deciphered the characteristics of these organs by using our viewing technology. This enables us to study the frequencies being emitted from the organs and analyze these frequencies into different mindsets and different emotions. Then, by changing these characteristics, which are in fact a magnetic field, it can help to lower the amount of radiation being emitted from these cells and bring about a more stable, more at ease, peaceful, and harmonious state of mind. Reprogramming technicians can help initiate a re-education process of these cells. And also, if what explained below about these mindsets at the mammary glands and the reproduction organs of the pelvis can be remembered and carried out in your daily lives, it can help prevent maybe illness from forming and thus maintaining a good health. It is quite a comprehensive list, which is the result of our research. You may recognize some of these characteristics in yourself, but they can also be hard to notice. Often these are referred to as our blind spots. So, what are the characteristics of the mammary glands? We have found that each bodily organ has its own characteristics or signature, which will affect how you think, your behavior, and how you react and act to what happens in your life. First, we will share the typical characteristics of these mammary glands. They can have a thinking that is efficiency and achievement based in order to achieve goals at all costs. This may often cause a lack of awareness, particularly in terms of considering how others feel during family discussions or in a work context. Often giving you the feeling that you want from any discussion is you want your own viewpoint to be the best option to take, rather than being more open to truly consider others' feelings or others' ideas. Often this can be called insisting. The thinking of the mammary glands, how you may perceive and react, tends to be organized in terms of hierarchy and authority, meaning higher versus lower and stronger versus weaker. Concerning about keeping face or looking good in front of others versus losing face or looking not so good. And an inherent need to stay afloat and assume a higher position at all times, meaning it could be hard for you to show any weakness, and a drive to show how capable you are, and that it could be difficult to be seen as lower than others. These glands would also give you the thought that fast is good and slow is not so good, leading to feelings of frustration and impatience. This way of thinking can often tend to be the black or white, right or wrong, finding it difficult to perceive things more as grey or more neutral, less black and white, less extreme. Black and white thinking would prompt you to think that either a person is on your side or that person is your enemy, and I would dislike you. I might even despise you. You could have an overly simple sense of value, or even a superficial view that says, if you love me, then you should do what I ask. You should listen to me, and you should comply to what I say, giving a feeling of often tending to take a dominant position and tending to complain sometimes, even aggressively, or sometimes maybe pressure others, wanting them to agree with you, even maybe submit in some way or complying to your ideas, your preferences. This can be seen in relationships in wife and husband, mother and child, girlfriend and boyfriend. So, you may realize from hearing about these characteristics that the mammary glands can give you a thinking akin to maybe some sort of self-centeredness. Due to an almost constant fear of being in a less advantageous position, you could tend to maybe spoil yourself or to spoil others, equating this type of spoiling with love. And this can give you this feeling of exchange of love, from gaining recognition from others, and to provide a more advantageous position for yourself. Sometimes to gain a more favored position, you will take quite a firm, quite a sure, independent stance, and want to take maybe total control, feeling that you need to use all your possible means at your disposal, even sometimes feeling attacking others or putting others down to win out in a situation. So it can be seen that these characteristics that we're discussing at the moment are much about wanting things in a particular way, and how this can lead to some kind of inconsiderate or maybe uncaring behavior. This may mean that it can be easy to take people or things even for granted, unknowingly, inflicting pressure or stress onto others. The mammary glands can also give a feeling of a strong need to secure what needs to be protected, even at all costs, even to be sometimes aggressive, and even quite hostile towards those who might pose a threat, especially when you could be in fear of being threatened. So these characteristics can happen in the different relationships often with your spouse, with your children, in your family of origin where you grew up, and at work. The uterus and ovaries emit more fundamental values that seem to work in cooperation with the mammary glands. And an interesting state of mind that can result in a feeling at a loss, feeling unfulfilled, and needing to feel worthy by being recognized and by being loved. Sometimes emitting a strong fear of not being loved. And the concept of love tends to be given a value by the amount of recognition you receive, attention and appraisal received. This could mean that when others do not appear to react with as much as recognition, attention, or praising you, that you would like or expect, you could easily react with a fast and maybe a negative overinterpretation, where something's wrong with the other person, or begin to be afraid and suspect whether the other person really does care about you or love you, or respect you, or maybe they did but they don't anymore. Then becoming easily petty, jealous, and holding grudges and feeling bitter. Also, the uterus and ovaries can often give you the feeling of expecting things to be ideal in the way you want, or happen in line with your own assumptions, your own preferences. Often it can be difficult to scrutinize your own angle of views, difficult to see your viewpoint in an objective light, and so it can be hard to get out of an emotional feeling of unrest, or to feel completely at ease or at peace. Particularly when the unexpected occurs, you could be triggered into a state of anxiousness, even desperation sometimes, which can be difficult to jump out of. The uterus and ovaries could give a feeling of finding it hard to accept others' ideas, or admit yourself being wrong, or being in a lesser position, feeling difficult to accept circumstances that are not in your favor, or criticisms of you, often carrying a heavy emotional burden, and finding it difficult to feel light, to become lighthearted, and finding it not easy to accept when things do not go your way, and even sometimes staying in a feeling of bitterness, especially when met with not so favorable situations. Difficult to think in terms of creatively taking some action, or to find ways to seek how to change things and improve circumstances, of being more flexible. Sometimes when faced with a different suggestion to your own opinion, you could take it personally, and then possibly you could blow things out of proportion and negatively perceive things as though you are being criticized or being attacked, even though this may not be actually true. This could lead you to feeling victimized and bitter, to the extent of blaming others for being unfair to you, having a feeling that you expect others to provide much of your needs, and often expecting others to serve you as their top priority, providing care for you as their ultimate goal, over all else and at all times. And sometimes finding it difficult to take or accept responsibility, as it often appears to be someone else's fault for not doing something or doing enough. Yet this feeling of not having as much as you would want, or even having more than others, could in reality be some sort of greed that causes you difficulty in never feeling really satisfied or really content, or you feel could be lacking appreciation with the present moment, so you could find it quite difficult to really enjoy life. Often comparing your situation with others, and you could interpret the outcome of a situation as that you're feeling lesser, or you've lost out on something, or not as privileged as others. You could suspect or overinterpret others to be exerting pressure on you, forcing you, even harming you in some way, or presuming others are taking advantage of you. Therefore, you could then react in a way that you would want to be defensive and to punish others, maybe to retaliate, and even sometimes feeling revengeful, always feeling in a state of conflict and as though you're in a battlefield. So for both the mammary glands and the uterus and the ovaries, their cells emit these characteristics, we think, based upon fear and a constant tension of not being recognized, unable to accept being lower or being lesser. Now, when receiving reprogramming, the opposite values to we just mentioned can be experienced of gentleness, acceptance, harmony, and a more relaxed inner stability. These are the key values applied through the reprogramming to re-educate the radioactive harmful signals or programs which have been mentioned above. Radioactive signals which are emitted from the cells of the mammary glands, from the uterus and the ovaries, as well as the surrounding tissues, to then, step by step, bring a state of mind to the person that can be more neutral, more relaxed, more open-hearted, and more at ease. Women who have received this body reprogramming treatment have shared with us that this treatment often helps with bloatedness of the pelvis, lower back pain, migraine during menstruation, swollen legs during menstruation, headaches at any time, bringing more clarity, improved perception, and more harmony to relationships, feeling calm and having emotional stability, sleep quality, and feeling neutral and having a positive outlook towards life. So, in summary, by changing these characteristics, which are in fact a magnetic field, it can help to lower the amount of radiation being emitted from the cells and bring about a more stable, more at ease, more peaceful and harmonious state of mind. And this is what can bring more health to these female glands and these female organs. So here's some information to help you prepare if you come for this quantum reprogramming treatment for women. The total treatment time takes about 30 minutes to complete. In this treatment, there is no need to disrobe. To prepare, if you can wear something quite comfortable, not too thick, and better not to wear jeans, as these can be quite thick in their material. The treatment is done while you relax on a massage table. Please turn your phone to silent and close your eyes to help you relax. During the treatment, the technician will press on the chest, on the mammary glands and the pelvis. Often people can fall asleep during the treatment. It can be quite relaxing. So afterwards, we will let you rest for a few minutes and won't wake you up immediately. So, interestingly, I could actually give a personal sharing because in my life, being married and also with my children, my daughters, and also with colleagues as well, even people now I'm working with now, it's very obvious to me how women have suffered a lot through female health problems. Many discomforts cause difficulties in their life. So something this has been with me, I think, since childhood, growing up with 3 sisters as well. So for me, this is a very important area. So thank you.